Now time for the 7 things you'll be talking about today. Number 7.
If you want to be creeped out, this is a great opportunity to be creeped out. You know, Al Michaels is kind of a weirdo, right? Like we all know this, right? Like, there's just a little bit of a weirdo thing with NBC's Al Michaels. He just seems like a real strange guy. Well, he's getting stranger because now we're going to get a little bit of AI Al Michaels. Okay, it just kind of a weird guy doing weird stuff. But here we are. Al Michaels, who's still alive, by the way, is going to allow NBC to use artificial intelligence to recreate his voice. And his voice is now going to be heard over the Peacock streaming app doing Olympic highlights. Now, he was skeptical about this, but ultimately he came around to support it because he's being paid for like a test process. This is going to push real broadcasters out.
Number 6.
In an effort to address some of these safety issues in Montgomery, the Montgomery public school system will now require all students to use clear backpacks in the next school year. So they're forcing kids to wear the backpacks that have no color on them or anything. You can see everything inside them. Like tampons? That's the first thing that pops into my head. I don't know why, but that's the first thing that pops into my head. Maybe that's a crazy thing. They're also going to start are you crazy for this? You ready for this? They're going to start enforcing their no cell phone policy. It sounds nuts, but this is a safety issue. Other schools are worried about stuff like this as well. Madison County schools have said they're not going to allow kids to connect to the school's Wi-Fi anymore either. So there's just a lot. They're trying to make things a little harder on kids when it comes to cell phones in some places. It's a great idea. There should be a blanket ban. Let's get on it.
Number 5.
Well, golly gee, wouldn't you know it, there's been another Supreme Court leak, and it's on abortion. It's almost like there's someone at the Supreme Court who has decided that they know better than everyone else at the Supreme Court, and now they are leaking the rulings that they care about at politically opportune times, like right before a presidential debate. A presidential debate where Democrats' main talking points are abortion-related. How weird. The ruling was quickly pulled down, but Bloomberg Law just happened to grab it. And it's not that somebody sent it to Bloomberg Law and said, hey, we're going to accidentally put this up, but here you have this, so now you can say we got it from the Supreme Court's website. And that's totally not what happened. And now it suggests that Idaho is going to be allowed to perform emergency abortions, which I'm completely fine with. I'm not fine with the Supreme Court being used this way.
Number 4.
Speaking of the Supreme Court, which is supposed to be like some sort of right-wing cudgel that Donald Trump is going to use to end democracy or something, right? That's what we were told. That's what we've been told a bunch of times. I just want to make sure I got this right. Well, it turns out not so much, because this right-wing cudgel here is apparently completely fine with allowing the Biden administration to silence people that they dislike. Now, that's it. If you say something they don't like about elections or COVID or Joe Biden or Hunter Biden and his laptop, the Biden administration can turn around and say, you know, we're not big fans of that. Could you make them stop saying it? Which, by the way, could never be misused by the Trump administration when he wins. Never. Don't worry about that, people. This could never be a double-edged sword that comes back to bite you in your sorry ass. Never could happen. Never. Ever.
Number 3.
The media and their Democrats are poorly responding to the idea that open borders are leading to crime and chaos. The New York Times even suggested that the real problem with the border, and 12-year-olds being raped and murdered because of the open border, is that Republicans are using it to criticize President Joe Biden. That's the real problem. That Republicans are pouncing on this. What a bunch of pricks. Can't you just let some girl get murdered and raped without criticizing the person responsible for it? Believe it or not, it's worse. The direct responses to Jocelyn Nungray's murder aren't that great either. U.S. Representative Summer Lee of Texas, a Democrat, said, I don't know who she is. I don't know her. Very smart stuff. And a judge, Linda Hildegoon, very fitting name, sought to downplay the immigration status of the murders because evil happens regardless of immigration status, guys. It's no big deal.
Number 2.
National Democrats were called racist by the inept leadership of the Alabama Democratic Party, which is probably true. You know, Joe Biden would probably be being more racist, but he forgot that he used to be racist. That's the real story here. Joe Biden is so mentally inept, he doesn't even remember he used to be racist. He thinks he likes black people, but really he hates them. So, it's unfortunate to see an old racist going down like this. But don't worry, Alabama Democrats have found the people that have been holding them back for years. It's the National Democratic Party. And now they can't send their delegates to the Democratic National Convention because of racism of Joe Biden and the National Party. But U.S. Representative Terry Sewell, notoriously black, by the way, she refuted the claims that the DNC was discriminating against Alabama's black Democrats. She says, no, what they're doing is fine because have you seen the Alabama, this I'm paraphrasing, have you seen the Alabama Democratic Party? It's a disaster. They're a joke, and we don't want to deal with them. They can't sit with us.
Now, time for the number 1 thing you'll be talking about today.
Former President Donald Trump is walking into today's debate with CNN's Jake Tapper, Dana Bash, and some version of President Joe Biden that will show up with some wind at his back as pollsters and predictors are pointing to his numbers as a sign that he is clearly ahead. And this, I think we all had a feeling, like there's just this sort of aura right now that Donald Trump is in the lead here. But don't get too excited about this. However, maybe there is some reason for this. A Quinnipiac University poll released yesterday shows former President Donald Trump leading Joe Biden by 4 points nationally, which, by the way, will be a bloodbath for Biden and Democrats if this is true. If there's a 4-point lead by Biden, or by Trump rather, it will be a bloodbath for Democrats. Previous polls from Quinnipiac had Biden up. It was one of the few national polls that showed Joe Biden up. But now Donald Trump at 49, Biden at 45. Why is this happening? A 10-point advantage with independents. So on top of that, a polling expert, I don't know, is that a thing? A polling expert known as Nate Silver, you remember him from 538. That was sort of his project that he was working on, I believe, with ABC News. Currently gives Donald Trump a 66% chance of winning the presidential election. That's fine. Predictors, pollsters, etc., they seem to be showing that there. The betting markets show sort of the same thing. But forget about that part. The most interesting thing here is that he added this caveat. The caveat is that this election is not a toss-up. That's an interesting piece of information, that the election is not a toss-up, and that this election is very clearly leaning in the favor of former President Donald Trump. So, while they're trying to set it as close, it's really not that close when you look down into the numbers, which makes a lot of sense because, remember, the American media defaults to Democrats and kind of gives them the benefit of the doubt on anything. So if they're saying it's close, it's probably not. If they're saying Biden's up, it's probably close. I mean, that's just a rule of thumb. It's not hard and fast, but it makes a lot of sense in this situation. So not a toss-up. Donald Trump, 66% chance of winning. Polls showing that Donald Trump is gaining even more ground, or not gaining ground, but taking more of a lead than he has. There's a debate tonight. And I mentioned CNN's Jake Tapper and Dana Bash are part of this debate. They're not the moderators. They're part of the debate, and that's what we'll see. I know you guys have a lot of thoughts on this, and I'm sure you want to weigh in. A couple ways for you to do so today. Very, very simple. You get in right now on the QC Kinetics free speech phone lines at 866-494-WVNN. You can fire off your text on our new text line, the scoutpestcontrol.com WVNN hot take text line at 866-494-WVNN, or you can email me.
You've got mail.
On the Downtown Rescue Mission email.org email inbox. You can get that in right now, Dale at WVNN.com. We'll get your thoughts, share those with you when we return. Before we do that, though, let me tell you about Two Men in a Truck. Yeah, look, it may look like moving is a big, giant pain in the ass. You know why? Because it is. Sucks. It's absolutely awful. Everybody hates it, and you will hate it as well. So there's no reason for you to put that on your friends and family. Put it on 2 Men in a Truck. They want to do this for you. They want to help you. Let 2 Men in a Truck help you today. Go to 2minuteintruckhuntsville.com. Check out their website. Get yourself a free estimate. Learn about the grandma rule. Treat everyone the way you'd want your grandma to be treated. That's how they run their business. So whether you've got a giant office building or a small apartment going across the street or across the country, 2 Men in a Truck can help you. You'll get 2 Men, a truck, and so much more. Let 2 Men in a Truck help you out today. 2 Men in a Truck, Huntsville.com. Check them out today. And when you do, you better tell them Dale Jackson sent you.
Get WVNN's Dale Jackson's 7 Things You Should Be Talking About Today right in your email box every morning. Go to yellowhammernews.com and sign up today.